Hey everybody, welcome back to the Green Woodworker podcast, episode number 72. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it. Today we have all the way from Searcy, Arkansas, Ben Myers with Myers Woodshop. You can find Ben on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and just about any other social media platform out there exists. Ben makes some incredible videos. He does some incredible projects with colored pencils and epoxy and does turning and makes furniture. And Ben is married, has 2 children, and is a full-time employee and finds time to do all this awesome stuff. Like I said, all the way from Arkansas. Mr. Ben, how you doing today, my man?
I'm great, Donny. How are you?
I'm doing good, brother. Thank you for joining me this evening, taking the time away from the family to chat a little bit about you and what it is that you do. It's awesome having you here, brother. I really appreciate it.
Oh man, it's an honor to be with you.
Man, that's awesome, brother. So, man, I have so many things I want to ask you because I know that you've for a while now you've been into the colored pencils and the epoxies and just putting stuff in epoxy and turning bowls from it, and you've done some really cool, neat looking stuff. But then again, you also do beautiful furniture, and you make smaller furniture pieces, and you make signs with your CNCs. And we were talking a little bit before that you're in a unique position that you actually have 2 CNC machines in your shop from a unique situation, which is totally awesome because you can kind of run them against each other and see what's going on. You've got the addition now of a laser that you can put on one of your CNC machines. So, man, you got all kind of fun stuff, brother, to play with in your shop, huh?
I have been very, very blessed. I only have 1 CNC.
Okay.
I had 2 at one time, but I can't fit them both.
Gotcha.
So somebody else I knew got one, and I kept the other. But
oh man, there's nothing wrong with that.
I've been very blessed to have what I have.
That's pretty cool, man. So like I said, dude, you're on YouTube, you're on, of course, Instagram and Facebook and all these other social media platforms. Your YouTube channel, it's growing continuously. We once again talked about a few of the numbers beforehand. You're almost at 180,000 views. I thought you were at a lot higher subscriber count, which after this podcast, no doubt, I'm sure you will hopefully have a couple new folks visiting you over there to get you up over that 2,000 subscriber mark, because it's well deserved, man. It's well earned. You do tip videos, you do assembly and technique videos on tools and different things, and you do projects, right?
Yeah. It's if you look at my feed and my YouTube, I am a jumble of random stuff. That's I'm not specialized in anything. It's just, oh, this will be cool, and put it out there. So
I call it an awesome eclectic mix of just wonderful things, because there are a lot of things that I want to know. And if I have a person that I like watching on YouTube and I really like their video and their style, and then they can do a whole bunch of different videos, man, I'm just even happier. You know what I'm saying? That to me, it really, because if I'm looking something specific, then that's cool. But if I just kind of want to get just a whole bunch of different things, your channel is definitely the place to go, right?
Yeah, lots of different things. I'm going against the grain on whatever everybody tells you. Specialize in something and do that well. And no, I don't do that at all.
I got you. Yeah, like I said, man, you do some cool stuff, some really unique things. I love the color pencil stuff. That's been a craze for a little while. I'm not really sure who started.
I would say Nick
Zametti.
Zametti, yeah. I guess that's probably where I saw it first.
I would say so too. And then, but you know, a lot of people have tried to emulate the epoxy and the pencils, and a lot of times it doesn't work out too well.
It is not easy, that's for sure. And to this day, even though I can crank them out, it's still an adventure every time. Epoxy is temperamental, especially in the Arkansas heat.
Yeah, dude. Tough. I mean, you're in Arkansas, so you've got, 100 degree. I mean, you got to do the stuff in an air conditioned area. I mean, it's just the way it is, right?
The best shop grade ever.
Oh yeah. I mean, listen, dude, My shop is not huge right now. It's not a big place, but I can tell you one thing that it does have, and that is air conditioning. Because,
Hmm.
I mean, if not, man, I mean, everything that I worked on would just be sopping wet.
Pretty much. Yep. It's the
It's
same
just,
way here.
it'd be nasty as can be. So let's kind of go. Well, I wanted to ask, you are a full-time employee, right? You're a father, you're a husband, so
I am. Yes.
you've got a lot of stuff going on. I mean, family life and then two kids will keep you busy enough. And then of course, time with your wife, because I mean, obviously you want to spend time with her because you married her, and and you want to spend time with your kids, but then you also want to play around with your hobbies and stuff. But then in the same breath, you've also got to be able to make a living, right?
Right. Yeah. It's something I struggle with. I'm a if something's on my mind or a thought of something I want to try to make, I am 100%. Let's start it right now, and I can't stop till I finish. And it's a daily struggle to stop and make time. It sounds horrible, but make time for the family and the wife and stuff. It's I'm very blessed with the family I have and the job I have to allow me to do what I get to do for fun, really.
Well, it doesn't sound horrible because I understand the what you mean. I mean, you have to have time for yourself. You have to have that space, and if not, you'd go crazy. I mean, you need an outlet. You need a creative outlet to allow you to, like you said, get that thing out of your head, get it down on paper or canvas or the wood or whatever it is. And that allows you to have the freedom of mind, because just spending time with your family, if your mind is somewhere else, what good is that, right?
It's tough for me to do that. Yeah. It's not quality, quality time. I'm fortunate to have a shop in an area, and the boys like to be out here, especially my youngest is almost 2. Outside is shop to him. His word is shop, and he wants to be out here, and they're out here as much as they can be.
Yeah, I think
And
I see
I
one
love it.
behind you. I think I see
No,
one behind you playing now.
no, that's actually Brian, my brother-in-law, Fiery Squirrel Art.
Oh, is
It's
it?
like he's in a pod. Yeah, he's doing
All I
some
saw was
wood
tools.
burning.
Okay.
Yeah, he's doing some wood burning behind me. But
Nice. That's awesome.
if you
Yeah.
look at my feed, him and I are like twinsies. We're together. We're blessed to have married sisters, and he's the
Ah,
artist. I'm the woodworker,
yes.
and we complement each other really well. So yeah.
And I did see that on your website at myerswoodshop.com, and it talks about who we are at Myers Woodshop, and then it talks about your brother-in-law Brian, who
Yep.
is a contributor and consultant, and he's just a paintbrush, and he's an Adobe Illustrator guy, which I didn't see that part earlier, and I'm so glad to know that, because
Yeah.
I
You asked
always
me
need.
once. You asked me once where I do my designs. He's it. I don't do them.
Well, that's awesome. I'm so glad to know that we now have somebody that can do Illustrator work for us. So
Absolutely.
that's a
Yes.
plus. Poor
That's right.
Brian getting thrown into the mix and doesn't even
That's
know what's going on here, right?
He's content with that.
That's good. Hey, that's cool, man. Man, and it's got to be so awesome to be able to be around somebody all the time or whenever you want that has a creative mind and a creativity that burns them just as much as you. I mean, man, that's just got
Yeah.
to keep you amped up, huh?
Yeah. Fortunately, my wife is one of 7 children, and my wife's the oldest, so I can only get more brother-in-laws. So it can only get better here.
Yeah, man. Man, you did pretty good, brother. When people say you marry up, I mean,
Uh-huh.
I don't know where you started, but I mean,
Yeah.
hey, brother, it couldn't have been much better than this. I mean, come
It's
on, let's
it's
be
pretty
real.
good. I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed. That's for sure.
So, in a previous conversation, you and I talked, I'll kind of catch everybody up, that you have a job that allows you to kind of make your own hours in a certain sense and stuff like that. It gives you time to work in the shop whenever you see fit and as much time as you possibly can in between family time. We've already discussed that. Your projects, your ideas, the things that you do, is this something that stems back many, many years, or is the making and building thing something new for you?
Um, I would say, well, my grandfather, he just visited and left. He has been a woodworker all of my life. They live in Pennsylvania. Everybody in Pennsylvania has a basement, and he has a little half a double house and has done woodworking in that little basement as long as I can remember. And I think the Myers just have this blue-collar tinkerer, put it together, fix it kind of thing in their genes. And I definitely have that. I started out more in computers. I can take a computer apart blind and put it back together. If somebody was throwing something out, I usually took it and ripped it apart and see how it worked. So that's kind of how it started. Like the word upgrade is a horrible thing for me, software or tool-wise or something, because I want the latest, greatest, newest kind of deal. And so I'm always trying to figure out how stuff works, what's new out there. I think that brought me into tools. Tools are kind of like that. And I think I just like the tools the most. And what do I do with the tools? I make something. So making kind of was a side thing into it. That's kind of where my YouTube went or is going once in a while. Is more like a tool review. There's a lot of that just because I love tools. All tools, every tool. So, yeah, I don't know. I just like doing it. It's just enjoyable.
And sometimes, I guess, to justify the tool, you got to make something.
I got to make something sometimes. I don't know.
That's funny. We had talked about CNC machines and stuff, and about, I don't know how many years ago, before I really got back into woodworking, I built a CNC machine. I built a really nice linear rail, ball screw, aluminum extruded CNC machine. And I had thousands of dollars in this thing. And when I got it together, I just sat there and looked at it and was like, okay, what now? What do I do now?
Yes, I totally get that.
And my
wife
was,
and you're like, yeah.
My wife was upset with me, brother. She was like, I thought you were going to make things and do stuff and this and that. And I played around with it a little bit, but I was just so bored with it, man. At that point, I ended up putting it up on eBay, and obviously I put it on there for a good price because I had 20 people call me within an hour, and one guy, his sign shop guys, drove in the next morning from Georgia and bought it. So, and after I got rid of that thing, my wife was like, you like the assembly of things and the challenge of building whatever it is that you're building, and then you get bored. Since then, I have kind of learned to like the process of turning and other things. But yeah, man, that was some bad days in the house, boy.
No, we're peas in a pod. I get that a lot. Hey, what'd you get that for? Keith, I think it was Keith, a few episodes back said, don't buy a tool if you're not going to use it. Or I like to buy it when I get it. I'm totally the opposite. It's, that looks cool. I need to have that. What am I going to do with it? I don't know. And I can't tell my wife what I'm going to do with it yet, but it was cool and I needed it. So
yeah, absolutely, dude. I mean, the thing is that the worst is these woodpecker tools.
Oh man. Yeah.
They look, now I just saw yours when you turned your head. I just saw that. I did not see that in the background. And for anybody, obviously, who can't see this, if they're listening to audio, over Ben's right shoulder is a plethora of anodized red, and it's gorgeous.
I bought them all. Not sponsored. Bought them all.
Hey, listen, if Woodpecker wants to sponsor, I'm not ashamed one bit.
I wouldn't shy away from that either, but
I heard that. Yeah. So, but man, you just look at it and you see it and because you're a tool guy and you go, man, that's some quality stuff right there.
Yep. Yeah, it's, I guess my grandfather told me, maybe he didn't, I don't know. Because he's been using some busted tools and making some amazing things. He has proved to me that no matter what you have, what space you have, you can make incredible things. And people with really cool tools, like I have some really cool tools, I can't make what he makes. It's amazing. But over the years I've learned, if you're going to buy something, don't buy the cheap one first and say, I might use something later. Buy the good one first, and you're going to save money not buying that tool twice. That's kind of, I've replaced everything at least once, yeah. It's been a cycle here. It's like, I had that, and then I replaced it with a better one. But again, I love tools, so it's going to happen.
It keeps you occupied. I mean, if you went out and bought all of the best of everything right off the bat, what would you do then?
That's true. I'd have nothing left. I'd have to use them and make something, I guess.
So then we would look forward to seeing a new video come out because you would actually build something other or do a tool review on it. I mean, that's the way it is. Yeah, man, I have a tool problem too, man. I mean, I know a lot of people do, but I see something and I go, man, that is just a really good looking, well-designed tool. Will I use it? I don't know. Who
Yeah.
knows? You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? I mean, but you got to have it. So the projects and things that you do make, I mean, let's be real. You have made some nice things. You make a lot of signs now with your CNC, some really cool, intricate looking signs. You make, like I talked about before, the epoxy, awesome looking bowls and ornaments and things. Do you make stuff just to make them to have fun and do things for yourself, or do you make things for people? Do you make things and sell things? What is your making about?
I started simply looking at something and saying, I can do that. That's how it started. I think that's how most guys are. You look at something, "Yeah, I can make that," and you figure it out. And that's kind of like going back to where I took computers apart. I think I can take that apart and put it back together. So that's kind of where it started. And then I realized, well, this might have some value. So, family, friends see it and buy some. And then once I made a colored pencil bowl and I thought it was worth selling, I tried it out on Etsy, and it's been really good. At Christmas and that time, I've done really well, and it validates you. Makes me feel like, yeah, my work is worth it. And ever since then, now it's just, with epoxy and the resin craze, it's like, well, everyone's doing this river table, which I have never done. I don't have a desire to do. I do have an idea of one, but it's totally different. But I look at things and think, what can I do that no one has seen before? That's what I want to do. I don't have a reason to make something for anybody. It's just, what can I do? What idea is in my head that someone hasn't seen? And that's kind of where I'm at now. I do less building for other people. I don't enjoy the deadline of it. I don't enjoy the stress of it. I don't enjoy I made this, I hope it comes out to what I charged, what it's worth, I thought it was, what I charged them. That stresses me out. I want to have fun. This is totally a fun thing. If tomorrow I never share another thing and I'm still having fun by myself, I'm happy. But I just want to have fun, and so far it's been that way. So if I sell some things along the way, great.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I mean, I can't blame you there, brother. I mean, that's, the thing is you sound like someone that if you tried to go a little bit further to the side of making things for people, that you would almost quit doing it, because
Yeah.
it would probably push you. I mean, I can just kind of see it in your face and I can hear it in your voice, to the fact that if you had to deal with one or two kooky customers that you just didn't jive with, once those guys were done and fixed, you would probably go, okay, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore.
I have had one return on Etsy for a colored pencil bowl, and I was flabbergasted. It was not colorful enough. I don't understand that. They're the same color pencils. I don't know. I don't know. But I was like,
okay,
what?
let
Really?
me write that. Let me write that in my notes.
Yeah.
Not
The
colorful.
colored pencils
enough.
are not colorful enough. Yes.
Did you now this is just me. My first question in response would have been, are you colorblind? Have you been checked?
I think when I went back and looked on Etsy, people were making them and selling them for cheaper. I think she had buyer's remorse, or I'd like to tell myself that.
Gotcha.
They did not look as good as the one I made, in my own opinion. And I think I have some of the nicer ones that are on there. Out of the few, there's very few that do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she could have got it way cheaper and was upset about it. But whatever. I know I have an MBA that did me no good in business. I've just learned over the time that you will never please every customer. You're going to have it. You just move on and focus on the ones that are pleased. And 99% of the time, they are happy. So I'm fine with it. Okay. I'll just sell it back to somebody else. All right.
And that's cool, man. You've got some really cool looking stuff in your Etsy store now. Like we talked about, you have the color pencil bowl, you have a Christmas tree ornament. the Lego miniature, the mini figurine bowl, that's pretty freaking cool, man. I got to admit, that's pretty awesome. And then you do custom stake cutout signs. And so, it's not a bad idea as a maker, as a hobbyist, or whatever you call what a lot of us are trying to try and sell some of the things that you make, because it allows you to bring some money back into the shop to buy some of the things you need without affecting the family budget. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I my wife would get sick of all this random stuff I keep bringing into the house with no place to put it. So if I could sell it and get it out of the house, she's happy. But
and that's mine. I mean, we have like 50 salad bowls in here right now, that these huge salad bowls that she puts like bananas in and stuff on the table, and like you can't even see the table anymore because it's full of bowls.
Yep. Yeah. That's, you asked me, do I turn much? And I did turn a few bowls.
Yeah.
I never sold any. And it wasn't, I don't know. I just fill the bowls up in my shop, and what would I do with them? I don't know. I posted a few on Etsy, sold one. That was it.
I do really good with bowls. I go to a few craft shows, craft fairs throughout the year, because I just really kind of like hanging out and talking to the people. And it's really good when sales are good and people are buying things and everybody's happy, and my phone battery's going dead because my swiper has just been used to death and stuff like that. So that's what I do with a lot of mine, as I sell them. Have you done any kind of craft shows or craft fairs or anything?
I have done 3.
Yeah.
It has been absolutely horrible. I did not enjoy them. I sold absolutely nothing. Brian, with me, he sold stuff. He sells stuff all the time, Adam. We usually share a booth. And there's one, I can't remember. We did something local, and Brian likes all kinds of things, video games, all kinds of stuff. And one was a pirate sign. Said it was cool, but it wasn't really like that home, a woman's going to hang it in her house. And I said, let's stick this one in the back. It's taking up a lot of room. I don't know what else to sell. And the one thing that sold that day was the exact sign. I said, stick it in the back. And so he does great. I do horrible. And I stick with Etsy, and I don't have to waste a Saturday sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah. What are you thinking? And now Etsy's raised their fees, them bunch of punks.
I know. And taking fees from shipping, it's crazy. I don't know. If I was a business, I would care. But I'm not. It's for fun. So it sucks for those who are making a living off it, for sure.
And that's me. I'm trying to make a living off of it, and other things. Of course, the podcast. I'm trying to branch out a few things there, but I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, it happens, and you just have to be prepared to move on to a different thing. And I do really like going to the craft shows. I like talking to people. We did the last craft show we did very, very bad. And I was a little disappointed. I thought it was going to be a good show, and everybody was there. It was at like basically a food festival, but they are getting vendors in.
That's how it is in our town. Yeah.
And they were trying to get vendors in, so they like waived the vendor fee and things like that. But I spent a lot of time out there, man, in the heat, brother, and it didn't sell. And one of my, the guy next to me, he actually bought one of my cutting boards. His wife wanted one of the cutting boards, and that's what I sold.
Yeah.
And I was a little upset. And he said, "You know what though, man?" He said, "These people were here to eat, man. They wasn't here to buy anything."
Right.
And I said, "Well, there you go."
I'd like to tell myself it's got to be where you live too, because I live in a tiny town. I mean, tiny farm town, and the money's not here, and I know that. So I've had a lot of fun meeting. You do meet a lot of, I've met a lot of other crafts. A guy with a laser before I had one. We talked together, some other woodworkers, and it's cool that socialness of it, meeting people around. My name's out there. I get contacted once in a while. That's a good thing about the fairs. But man, I just don't have luck at them. So oh well.
Right. Yeah, it is what it is, and you've made your decision, and now you've moved on to other different things. So,
yep.
What is new with you? You trying anything new? I know the epoxy and color pencils and stuff has really been one of the things you really like messing with.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it behind me, but no one else has seen it. I don't know. It's pretty white in my screen. But the secret color pencil project that I've been teasing for a while here, it is all but finished. So it turned out really well. It was just an idea I had in my head. A company, we just got to talking, and it has worked out through this. It's something I haven't seen anywhere else, and that's the goal. I've done a lot of color pencil balls. Let's push it to where else can I do it? And it turned out really well. I'm really happy with it. It's scary when you invest a lot of money into something and have no idea if it's going to even turn out. And fortunately, I've teamed up with a color pencil manufacturer, and that made things a lot easier. And I've been blessed to get some color pencils, and I can experiment. So
I was going to ask you about that because I guess I watched either yours or Nick's video, one of the two, Nick Zametti, and
yeah,
my wife had said, "Man, you ought to try something," because I stabilize knife. I do a lot of stabilizing for guys for their knife scales.
Yeah.
So they'll send me, large flat rate boxes full of wood blanks, and I'll stabilize them for them. And I have a pressure pot too, where I've done some epoxy stuff and things like that. And she saw the pencil deal and said, "Oh, you ought to try making one of those." So I hopped online and started looking around at color pencils, and I'm like, it cost me $300 to make a bowl. I mean, these things are expensive. And I'm thinking,
dude, the adult color pencil craze drove the color pencils up.
Is that what it was?
Hardcore. I guess it has to be. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy, man. I mean, I never realized they were so expensive. And, so that's cool. So when will that project be coming out? Any time stamp on it?
I am not sure yet. The company is going to do some stuff too, so I kind of have to wait on them.
Okay.
But
is this going to be a YouTube video or anything?
I have filmed it all. Yes, I filmed it all. It'll be on YouTube for sure.
Okay.
Who knows when I'll put that out? It takes me time.
Yeah.
It's something that takes me a long time. YouTube videos.
Really? And that's what I was going to ask you about your YouTube. Do you just put out stuff as you can, as you want to, is there any rhyme or reason with anything that you do?
No rhyme or reason. It's when it's fun. When it's fun, man, I go against the grain in all of it. It's not. It's when it's done. When I had time to do it, I will not give myself a schedule. I don't want to. It's not fun. It has to be enjoyable.
Right.
And that's sometimes like with this thing, I really want to put it out because I'm really excited. But most of it is just I have about 5 or 6 videos sitting on the memory card right now that just have taken a back burner, and I just want to put it out good, and if I rush to put stuff out, it won't be good. Not to say that it's good now. I have no ability in editing, so I barely get by, but it's just when I get it done is when I get it done.
The tool review type videos, tip videos, or unboxings compared to, say, a project video. I understand that the project building aspect of it is, immensely bigger than the tool review part. But do you find it a little easier to edit and do the video for the tool review versus the project?
Way easier. Oh yeah, way easier. Yeah, those are usually fast. So that's probably why I have a lot more of them. And those are way faster. Shooting video for projects takes forever. Setting up the shot and all that, it takes 4 times longer than just making whatever you make. But now it's kind of the way of life. I enjoy it. I enjoy being in front of the camera more than on the computer. If someone could film it all for me and edit it, I'd be really happy.
I heard that. Send them over to my place when you're finished.
I live in a college town, so I know some professors, and it might happen to where I get some interns, which would be pretty awesome. And hopefully up the game.
Man, big time. Yeah. And that's a good idea, because somebody I had on the podcast, and I can't remember who it is for the life of me, but they had mentioned go to a local school, to a college, and see if there are any filmmakers or anything like that, aspiring YouTubers that want to come in and just get some college credits or experience or whatever it is, not credits, but
Yeah, yeah,
just time on the scene, if you will,
right.
to do that. And
Yeah, when I was getting my MBA, we had so many classes on theoretical companies that didn't exist or companies I didn't have any, contact with. And if I would have had something like this, find a guy who's trying to make it. Hey, he needs a website. He needs a YouTube. He needs a logo. All that stuff. Man, that is concrete resume material that would have been fun, and you'd actually, I don't know, be a part of making something.
Yeah.
And that's the best part of this. The whole, I guess, from being a tinkerer, and what I really like is the end, looking back and saying, I made that. I don't care if anybody else likes it. I made it. And that's something that's huge.
Yeah.
I think.
That real world experience, man, it can't be beat.
No, it can't be bought.
Absolutely not. And it's hard to teach it in a school, sitting in a class or a lab.
Or on a computer.
On a computer when you're not physically doing the thing.
Yeah.
That's why, YouTube is it's big, obviously, but it's also a touchy slope. I mean, it's a slippery slope if you think about it. So you can watch a video, you get inspired, you get ideas about what they're doing on that video, but it can also give you a false sense of reassurance. So if you go out there and you go to try this project and you're not sure about what you're doing around this particular tool, you could be hurt and or you could be disappointed, or you could be, so that hands-on learning, man, is always such a valuable thing. And if you could get some folks in there, man, to sell them on that and say, hey, look, hands-on experience, you guys get to see YouTube making, you get to do it all and add your flair to it, and let's see what we can do together. And it's free.
Can't be free.
Man, I mean,
yeah.
How bad could it be and still not be good if it's free, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be better than what I'm doing. I didn't go to school for any of this. So.
Oh, man, and it just seems like it's getting harder and harder with the people that are coming in now that are making videos and doing this stuff. It's like, because they're born in the era that they're born, it's like they automatically have this technology gene shoved up their butt, and they're so much better doing things that we try and kill ourselves to do. And they're like, oh no, man, I did a 40-hour video in 15 minutes and it got 700,000 views on 2 hours. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't, it's hard to, and that's why it's hard for anyone, no matter who you are, unless you're flaunting body parts, that is just unreal savory that you shouldn't be doing. It's really hard to be a full-time content creator and maker. It is a really hard business. And that's why go ahead, I'm sorry.
It's hard to be a part-time one or a once in a while one. I mean, really, like when I started, I was like, I didn't set out to do any of this really. It was just, again, I can do that. I can make a video. And it's daunting when you look at other people's and you think, I can't make anything close to that. And I can't. But how many views did I have? 180,000?
Yeah.
180,000 views not tooting my own horn, just somebody thought it was valuable. Everybody has something valuable. And the only way you can start to do it is just to do it.
Right.
And that's how I did it. No one told me to do anything. Just, okay, I'll do it. Whatever.
Yeah.
And it happens.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is if you've done something 10 times, then you can teach and show a whole bunch of people, because there are a whole bunch of people that haven't done that thing one time and you've already done it 10 times.
Yeah.
So now you're much better at it than those people are, because they have no idea what it is. And that could be anything. So, and that's why I tell people all the time, if you're a maker and you want to be a listen, I truly, honestly feel that if you want to be a full-time content creator and maker, the first thing you have to do is believe that you can, and be prepared to make a commitment that you just don't understand. It means that you're going to be editing video and shooting video and making things when your friends are out on a Thursday night or a Friday night, or when people are at birthday parties, or when you are going to have to do things that you don't want to do for a long time until that gets to that point where you can kind of not skate along, but kind of be more comfortable because you've got yourself a flow. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. You don't have to. I'm not missing anybody's birthday or anything like that.
Absolutely not.
I don't want to do that. But there's times where I'm up, 4 hours later than I meant to be, just because I got sucked into editing something or whatever. But just do it. Somebody out there is going to think you're.
And let me clarify. Let me clarify by saying, I'm talking about the people who are coming up now saying, okay, this is what I want to do for a full-time business, for a career. I want to be, Jimmy Direst. I want to be April Wilkerson. I want to be one of these people. There are a lot of circumstances around that situation that you need to understand. Right place at the right time kind of thing.
Yeah.
The effort, the work effort, the ethic of, if you realized what Jimmy DiResta does in a day to create the content and to build the projects and the things that he does, a lot of people would go, okay, I'm not ready to commit that kind of time to something.
Right.
I'll just get a job.
Yeah.
That's why everybody's not doing it, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Hey, just enjoy them. Just watch them and enjoy them and be glad you get to watch them.
That's exactly right. So, and that was my point. If someone's wanting to do that now, if someone is wanting to not be committed 100%, but wants to have some fun, then get a video camera and build some stuff and shoot some video and have some fun. That's what you do. You get out there, you find someone, man, I'm having a hard time tonight thinking of who said things, but someone said it recently on the podcast. They said, find a small project that you want to do and get the things that it takes to make that project and just go out there and build it. Just something simple, something achievable, and build it. Then the next thing you do, make it a little bit harder. Mm-hmm. Find something a little bit more aggressive, something a little bit bigger, but it has to be something that you really want to do. Just like you with wood turning, right? You thought it was cool at first, and then you kind of just weaned away from it, and you're like, well, it's okay, but it's not my favorite thing to do.
Right.
That's how you learn what you like and what you don't like, right?
Yeah, and there's seasons to things too. I'll get into a wood turning deal and think, how can I push my wood turning? Wood turning is a little different for me because to this day, and I have turned a lot of resin bowls at this point, I am still totally afraid of it. It is the most intimidating thing I have in the shop. I've been hit with stuff flying off of it too many times to count, but I guess there's that healthy fear, and that's why there's a season with it. Hey, I'm doing really good, and as soon as I get confidence, that shot off, hit me right in the gut, and I don't know, but there's seasons to things. Sometimes I'll get into colored pencil bowls, sometimes I'll get into furniture. It's just how it goes, ebbs and flows.
Yeah, man, because you've built some really cool looking things, man. I was looking back at your Instagram and I noticed this toy box you built. The one that has the herringbone pattern with the mountains on it and stuff. Yeah,
I built that for my sister. She came down. She lives in New Jersey, and they came down for a week, and they just had their first child, and they wanted a toy box. And like my grandfather built my son a toy box and kind of passed the baton. He's kind of getting out of it. Kind of has a little dementia and unfortunately can't do it anymore. So I've kind of carried the torch, which is why I am called Myers Woodshop. I wanted to keep that name and hopefully a name my kids, or at least one of my children, will pass on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw, Worrell.
Yep.
Worrell
Woodworks.
Worrell Woodworks. They're one of the first people I followed, and they are not part of our Instagram family, really. They're on Instagram, but I don't really know they have much connection with people. But they do a lot of that stuff, and I kind of took the mountain design theme from them, and my sister knew she wanted that herringbone around the outside, so it was I don't use plans. I don't know SketchUp. I can take a computer apart, but I can't use SketchUp.
Yeah. That was going to
But
be one of my questions was when you make things and design stuff that you're doing, do you just you have an idea in your head what you're going to do and that's what you do?
that's it, on the fly. This is in my head, and I'll cut it. And if I cut it too small, we redesign it. That's the way I'm in it.
So how did it work out on the toy box?
It worked out great. That
It's
worked out
awesome.
great.
Listen, it is really it's a really good looking piece. And I know that all those angles, that's not something you can fake.
Oh, so 2 things I would do differently. That thing is super, super heavy, so I would have used some thinner material. And we went back and stained each one individually as it was already on and finished on the toy box. Not stained before. So this is the growing pains of doing something once, is you learn as you go. And that was the worst part. But it was, that's how it is.
It's a beautiful piece, man. You guys can check it out back in June 21st of this year on Ben's. He did it as a throwback Thursday. You guys can check it out on his Instagram feed. It's a great looking piece. And I know I watch, the palette people and those guys, and they do all these angles and just all these crazy dimensions. And Anna Baling, is that her name?
Yeah. She's one of the ones I watch too. Yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh, man. They do these angles and all this stuff. And I'd like to do one of those. I will do one. And, but what I think I may end up doing is just like putting some boards together and then throwing it on the CNC machine and then cutting out a shape.
Oh, you cheater.
Hey man, if you're going to have a machine like a CNC that's cheating anyway, you might as well use it to your advantage.
I'm proud to be a cheater. I have no qualms about it.
Hey, listen, last episode I had, episode before last, on episode 70, I had Karen Lavarnway from Lavarnway Designs on, and her father, if you listen to that episode, is who really instilled in her and taught her how to make fine furniture. And she's a full-time firefighter, but she's an incredible craftswoman making incredible pieces. And one of the questions I asked her was, I said, what does your dad think about that CNC machine? And she's like, oh man, you should have heard him in there talking about that CNC machine when I first got it. He was scared that I was going to, forget how to do woodworking and this and that. And, he now understands that it's just another tool and, she's going to use it for things to enhance what she does. And, I thought that was kind of funny. I've talked to several people where I've asked them about, what do you think about CNC machines? And, a couple.
That's always the question. That's always the question when you have one. Yeah,
it is, man. It's, I think it's all good, man. I love mine and I wouldn't trade it for anything. My Shapeoko rocks and rolls, man. And does me some good. Oh, Ed Ford. He does pretty good and he knows what he's doing.
That's for sure. He's one smart man.
Yeah. He's something else.
There's something about, I used to think it was cheating before I had one, and then I got one, and I want those people who think it's cheating to have one, and then tell me what they think. Because it changes. There's something magical about that machine. I don't know. It's awesome. But it is a ton of work that no one sees. All the programming and the getting it all right, it is way more than if I just did it by hand, if you're doing, one-off things. But if you're going to do multiples, it's the way to go.
Not to mention the nerve-wracking part when you've spent, 10 hours putting something together that you're going to put on that machine and you're going to cut into it.
Yes, that behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
lots of money invested in that and time. And hopefully I don't ruin it.
And hopefully the clamp
once you click that start, there's no turning back.
Did I zero it correctly? Did I go too deep on the zero? Is it too in the software? Did I come? And I'll hit pause sometimes and I'm like, okay, I got to think about this for
triple
a minute.
Check.
And I'll go back.
What's funny, if you go back a few days on my feed, you'll see Brian and I he designed this Zelda shield.
Yep.
And cut it out on the CNC, and we got the big parts cut out perfectly. And we're about 2/3 done. And I look at him and said, man, we are a team. We got this down. Everything's cutting. We got it. Every piece after that snapped. I didn't do the tabs right. Every single one. I said, as soon as I opened my mouth, ruined it all. Man. Ridiculous.
I'm going to tell you, man, I broke two $40 bits back to back.
There's nothing worse.
And I was like, oh, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And it was my fault, 100%
Yep.
my fault. And it's just, what do you do? Are your kids interested in the CNC machine?
Well, one is 6 and one is almost 2 next month.
Okay.
The 6-year-old likes that I have a TV out here and internet, so he likes being out here when he could be on those things. And he'll watch some stuff, but he doesn't really care. He likes shaky things. Anything that shakes, he plays with. Great imagination. He's going to be my artist. The 2-year-old, he wants to sit right by me when I'm watching the CNC go. He'll put the headphones on. He'll watch it from start to finish. And I think he'll be the one that wants to be out here carrying on this stuff. But I'm happy if they both want to do it, don't want to do it. I love when they're with me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've had this conversation a couple times with Sean Stone and his boys, and we chat pretty regularly. And I ask him, how are the boys doing? Are they showing more interest in the shop and things? And he's like, it's kind of touch and go, man. 1 minute they're super interested and they're paying attention to what's going on, and then 3 seconds later, you know how it is. They're like, I don't even know where they went, and they're running out the door, and because something else triggered in their mind. And
yeah,
I think you're good with the fact that if they're interested, they're interested. If they're not, they're not. Because the minute you try and tell them, hey, I want you to be in here and I want you to do this and I want you, that's when you lose them, man. You just have to let them either pick it up on their own naturally, or unfortunately they'll pick up something else, right?
They're going to be who they're going to be. And that's part of God's great creation.
Yeah. And they're either going to like you or not during the process.
That's true. That's true. But all you can do is encourage whatever they like to do. And that's what I try to do. So if he wants to be out here and he wants to vacuum, great, man. Vacuum away. That's all you want to do. If you don't want to be in here, okay, that's cool. So, and that's awesome, man. I'm glad to see that they have the opportunity to get in. And you never know where that may lead them. When you give them the choice, that's when I think kids surprise you. And they go, they show you things and hey, man, they may teach you something. They may be interested in something that you never thought of before, and you may find a whole new hobby. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's all. That's pretty cool. So,
yeah, there's nothing cooler than watching your children become who they are, and it's some of my proudest moments as a parent. Seeing him do whatever he did, and if it's something I want him to be who I want him to be or what I want him to be, but he found that on his own. It's awesome. There's nothing prouder than that.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you find a happy medium of time between the family and being able to be out in the shop and work time and stuff like that. That's really good that things are working out that way, and that you choose to make the time and the decisions that you make to make all of those things happy. You know what I mean? Because
I am very blessed to have the job I have that allows me to do what I do. I have a full-time job with part-time hours, so it allows me a good amount of time out here when I want it.
Yeah, you can't beat that, brother. You can't beat that, man.
I fell backwards into it, so it was just God looking out for me. It really was.
Hey, listen, man. Is there anybody better to have looking out for you?
No. Nobody else can make a better plan than God.
Yeah,
sure.
I've relied on a lot of people, man, to have my back, and that's really never worked out much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I found Jesus, man, and asked him to be part of my life, that's when I realized things were a lot better than what I thought they ever could be. So,
yeah.
And that's all thanks to my wife, man. If it wasn't for her, she, who knows where I'd be or what I'd be doing,
Right.
I'm sure it wouldn't be the good things that I try and do now for people and for my community and for anyone that I meet or don't meet, or, I just love doing good things, man, for people. And just, that's part of the reason for the podcast. Chatting with folks like you, man, is just spreading the word of joy and happiness in the shop, and just being able to get out there and have fun with your family, your kids, getting people involved and sharing your story to give hope to other makers and people who think, well, I don't know if I could really do what they do. And I'm here to tell you, and Ben's here to tell you, yes, you can.
Yeah, you can. You can do that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Because listen, brother, you're not buying your supplies, your pencils, and your epoxy from some special store, right? I mean,
no.
Exactly. No. So it's available.
If you want a link, I'll provide the link.
Well, you can actually head over to Ben's website and check out over there. He's actually has a spot where if you click on Tools I Use over on Myers Woodshop, .com, it will actually take you to his Amazon store where you guys can see all the goodies he likes to get and actually support a maker in the same breath. You can head over to Etsy and check out his stuff. Go to the blog post. There will be tons of links for Ben where you can find him on Etsy, Instagram, YouTube. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel and let's show him some support there and see if we can get a few more videos out from this guy, man, and take him off.
I'm working on it.
Take him off this quad monthly video plan that he's on right now, and get him to show us some stuff. But no, man, it's been an absolute pleasure, brother, chatting with you, man, and it's just been nice, man. It's been a nice conversation just to kind of get to know Ben Myers and get to know what kind of makes you think a little bit, because you have such an eclectic mix of things that you mess with, right?
Yeah.
Do you have like a specific medium or thing that you find you enjoy more than the other?
If there's a problem in front of me and I get to figure out how to do it or why it does what it does, then I'm happy.
Nice.
There's no specific thing. It's just, it's the process, I guess.
Right.
I enjoy the process.
Gotcha.
And the tools I get to use to make that process happen.
Well, that's cool, because then this ought to make the last question the best question ever, because it's going to be a hard question for you. And you've probably already thought about it because you listen to the podcast. Oh, yeah. But
I have thought about it.
But what is your favorite tool in the shop, sir?
My favorite tool? This is going to be weird. I thought about this hard. I'm partial to the CNC and definitely to the laser now that I am very new to it and have it. I'm going to say the most used tool for my personality and favorite tool is the vacuum. I don't think you've gotten that before. The vacuum, yes.
Not at all.
I keep my shop spotless.
Yeah.
I have to have everything in its place for my mind to be clear and work. That's how I was in school. Like before I did any projects, the room needed to be clean, the floor vacuumed. And the shop is the exact same way. That's just my personality to a fault, I guess.
No, man.
In the middle of everything. When my grandpa used to come down every week, or once a week, 1 week out of every year, he'd come down, and I tried to do a project, when he was down here. We'd be in the middle of something. I'd put everything away where it went, and he'd be like, "Where did my pencil go? Where did my hammer go?" And I was, "Well, right where it belongs is where I put it." And he's like, "Well, I was using it." And I said, "Well, everything got to go back before you use it." So,
man,
cleanliness, the vacuum.
Yeah,
doesn't matter what brand, just a vacuum.
Just a vacuum. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. If you walked in my shop right now, you'd probably pass out.
I can't. Don't even show me. I can't.
I won't. I'm telling you, you would pass out. So if you ever need to sleep one night and you really just can't, just give me a call and I'll send you a picture of it and you'll pass right out. I'm telling you.
Maybe I need to take a trip down there and help you out. A little organization, a little cleaning.
That probably would be a really good idea.
That's a new service I can provide, right?
There
Everybody
you
wants
go.
someone to clean up their shop. I can do that.
Yeah, man. Organization and, it would probably be a little expensive, travel and all that. And
it'd be worth it. It'd be a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind it'd be a good job. And, that's crazy, man. That's awesome stuff. So, Ben, man, thank you once again, brother, for chatting with us. Chatting. My wife is going to get on to me if she hears me say chatting. For chatting with us today on episode 72 of the Green Worker Podcast, brother. You are absolutely awesome, and I love chatting with you, man, and just talking business, man. We actually chat back and forth through message all the time, and you've been a big help with me with my laser on my CNC and other stuff. And you're just a good dude, man. And I truly appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us tonight, man. Thank you.
Oh, man. No, thank you so much for inviting me. It's been great. And I love that someone else is going through the growing pains of having a laser with me.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It makes it a little easier too, right? You know, it's
Yeah,
not as
yeah. Well, and it makes me feel like I'm not as much of an idiot as I am
yeah,
with it.
because you got another dude right down the road, you know, a couple hours down the road that's just as much of an idiot, right? So
Yeah, we could do it together. That's cool.
good stuff. Good stuff. All right, you guys, thank you once again for listening to episode 62 of the Green Woodworker podcast. Make sure you get in that description, head over to the blog post, and check out Ben and all the folks mentioned today on the podcast. And once again, we thank our patrons for the support you give. We appreciate you guys so much. You have no idea. Anyone who shares this and just spreads the word about the podcast, we truly appreciate you guys. Ben and I are going to hop into a quick after show for his one question that I'm going to ask him. If you'd like to know about how to gain access to that Patreon after show, head over to patreon.com/TGW podcast or click the link in the blog post. And until next time, see you guys on the next episode.